Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain, and today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite bidding games. So this is a list I've wanted to do for a while. Now, I don't have a huge amount of bidding games in my collection, but I do like them. The reason I don't have a huge amount is Lynn is generally not a fan, though there are a few on here that are even good for people who are not fans of bidding games and that she does like. But it's a little more situational usually. Most of the games on this list are ones that she actually does like, which is why they're able to stay in the collection. But there are a few that I wish hit the table more because she doesn't like them, because she doesn't like the very traditional way that they do bidding in certain games. She usually likes bidding that is non-traditional. All right, so without any further ado, we're going to jump into this, and I'm going to count you down through my top 10 favorite bidding games. So let's get to my number 10. Number 10. My number 10 favorite bidding game is one that also simulates one of my other favorite styles of games, and that is pinball. This is Pinball Showdown. I absolutely love this little game. It is a game where all the players are supposed to be pinballs in a multi-ball in a game, and you each deal out these cards that represent parts of the pinball machine, things that your ball could hit and get points. And then you bid on trying to hit certain ones because you're trying to have your ball accumulate the most points. It's this fun, really thematic sort of game done in a really odd way, using a bidding mechanic to represent pinball. Sounds strange, but it's actually quite fun, very enjoyable. And I love all of the images of pinball machines on the cards and in the game. Being a huge pinball fanatic myself, this was one that the year it came out, I really wanted to get my hands on and picked up at Gen Con. And yeah, I'm a fan of it. I really like the way the game plays, and I really like the feeling of playing a game of pinball that it evokes with the strange bidding mechanic they have added to it. And that is why Pinball Showdown is my number 10 favorite bidding game. Number 9. My number 9 favorite bidding game is Outer Earth. Outer Earth is this fun little indie game that actually comes with little bidding paddles. You feel like you're in an auction. It's really kind of cool. You bid on these cards, and the cards have these pipelines that you're using to try to get certain elements, certain colors to come down and connect through all the cards to be able to get the abilities and the points from the different planets that you're attaching them to. It's this very interesting mechanic that happens after the bidding, where you're laying the cards out and trying to keep each of the pipes going. The more of them you can keep going, the better it will be for you. But you actually do bidding where you have a paddle that's one side is red and one side is green, and at the same time everybody flips it up to say if they're still bidding on a particular item in the game. The bidding is really fun. The color cards with the pipes coming down through them is amazing, and I love connecting them together. It's a very satisfying thing. And then all of this comes together into why Outer Earth made it down to my number 9 favorite bidding game on my list. Number 8. My number 8 favorite bidding game on my list is possibly the oldest one on my list. This one goes a long way back, but this is Colossal Arena. So this is a game where there are a bunch of monsters fighting in a basically like a big arena, like think the Roman Colosseum. And you are on one hand playing cards, upping and reducing the power of the monsters, and on the other hand making bets on which ones are to survive. Now, I know the betting feels, kind of less like bidding and more like putting a bet down, but the cards feel kind of like bidding, where you're bidding them up and down in a weird sort of mechanic that is kind of akin to bidding. This one might be a little bit of a stretch to make my list, but it still feels like a bidding game to me. And the earlier you make the bets on the monsters, if they make it to the end, the more money they're going to be worth, and therefore points at the end of the game. This is a really fun game. I really enjoy Colossal Arena. You go through round after round, and in each round, the lower valued monsters at the end of the round get bumped off, and you wait till the end to see which monsters have survived, and whoever bet on them gets points based on the earlier they bet on them, the more points. And all that is why Colossal Arena made it down to my number 8 favorite bidding game. Number 7. My number 7 favorite bidding game, it is one mechanic out of many in this game. This is Raccoon Tycoon. So Raccoon Tycoon is a big game where you do commodity manipulation, you do purchasing of railroads and bidding on railroad company cards, and that's where the bidding comes in, because whenever someone chooses an action to pick a railroad company card to bid on, it goes around the table and everybody bids on them. Now on your turn, everybody picks one action and does it. And the interesting thing with the bid is if you pick the action to start the bid, you will not have your action wasted if you fail to succeed at the bid. You pick one, you say, okay, we're going to bid on this. You start the bidding, it goes around. If you don't get it, you actually get to pick another action, which is something I really like in this game. Along with the fact that the game itself, it has awesome stock manipulation, or commodity manipulation in this case, some really great economic systems to earn you the money to succeed at the bids, as well as having some of the most awesome artwork on its cards of like any game out there. I absolutely love the little animal people in this game. I actually have some of the pictures by this artist up on one of my walls down here in my my big gaming basement. But for all those reasons, Raccoon Tycoon has made it down to the number 7 game on my list of my top 10 bidding games.
Number 6.
My number 6 favorite bidding game on my list is a very different sort of bidding game. Now, mainly you're bidding on the turn order in this game. This is Shipshape. Every round, you bid with your cards for when you're going to go in that round. And you're not always trying to bid to go first, because the thing is there's a stack of these cargo holds that you can see some of them as you look down through them, because there's holes through the squares, and you can see below, you're like, ooh, I really want to get that second one. So you're bidding to try to get to go second, trying to figure out where everyone else is going to be bidding to try to make sure you are in second place. And then in the order of the bids, you each take them one at a time off the top and have to add them to your new stack that you're creating on your cargo hold, where you want to have the best symbols visible while looking down at them, and you want to have all the negative symbols covered up. So negative symbols that start on the cargo holds are rats, which are worth negative points. The things you could be hauling in your cargo hold are gold, which is just worth points. And then there's cannons, where you want to have a lot of cannons minus the amount, you get minus the amount of points of whoever had the least cannons. And then there's contraband, where you want to have the second most contraband, because whoever has the most gets intercepted by customs and loses all of the points for their contraband. Everybody else gets their points for their contraband. Shipshape is a lot of fun. This is a really enjoyable, a lighter kind of game where bidding is actually a major mechanic in the game. But this is one of those bidding games that is definitely for people who are not fans of traditional bidding, because the bidding feels a little bit different. Everybody still gets something. It's just the order you get it in. And that is why Shipshape made it down to my number 6 favorite bidding game.
Number 5.
My number 5 favorite bidding game is Cursed Court. So now Cursed Court sets itself up. It's another game where you're betting on things, but you can outbid an opponent's bet. So the way it works is you have a big board which shows a lot of the possible combinations of cards that could come up. You deal cards out that are between you and an opponent face down, and only you and that opponent to your left can look at that card, and only you and the opponent to your right can look at that card. The other cards are all a mystery to you, and in the case of everybody else, again, you each only know 2 cards, and all the other cards are a mystery. Then there's some cards that get slowly dealt face up, so it has a feeling similar to some kinds of poker in that way. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to put chips down on combinations of cards or certain individual cards coming up a lot. And the more they come up, the more points you will get. Keeping in mind that you're trying to figure it out when there are multiple cards out there that you have no idea what they are and may not actually know if a combination is out there. You just think it might be out there. But if your opponent thinks you're right and wants to outbid you, they can bid, double your bid to knock you off of a space on the board and take your bid from you. This game is amazingly fun. I thoroughly enjoy it. I love the big chunky plastic chips that represent coins. I also love the artwork and the look of this game, and the game mechanics are amazingly fun. Cursed Court is my number 5 favorite bidding game.
Number 4.
My number 4 favorite bidding game is a bit of a spiritual successor to a game that was previously on my list. But in my opinion, the designer did a significantly better job on this version. Now, both games are really good, which is why they're both on my list. And this is Lizard Wizard, which is the spiritual successor to Raccoon Tycoon. It has a lot of the similar mechanics from Raccoon Tycoon. You also have a similar kind of commodity manipulation, though done a little differently. But then it has a lot of added mechanics in. There are cards that do all sorts of interesting, unique effects that are different from what they from anything in Raccoon Tycoon. And there's also an area where you can go press your luck and go into a dungeon and try to get loot. It's like the designer took the concepts from Raccoon Tycoon and said, how can I make a more advanced version of this without overcomplicating it? And that is what Lizard Wizard is. And again, the same artist from Raccoon Tycoon came back to do all of the art for the Lizard Wizards and their towers. And it is awesome. And I love bidding on the Lizard Wizard cards. And I love collecting all of the towers. And Lizard Wizard is my number 4 favorite bidding game.
Number 3.
My number 3 bidding game, bidding is only a small part of it, but it is a part that happens every turn. It is Pan Am. So now Pan Am ostensibly is a route building and worker placement game. But the thing is, a major and very important part of the game is building airports. You need airports to help you to connect routes, and airports are also worth points. And with the exception of certain extra ways to get airports in the game, the primary way to get airports is to bid on being the person to be able to build the airport. So the first person to bid gets to put in the lowest bid, and then you can outbid them, and then someone could outbid you. And wherever the bidding stops, that's the person who's going to get to build the airport that round. And the thing is, this really does happen every round because airports are that important. But overall, Pan Am is a phenomenal game. The bidding works really well. The building of routes works really well. The economics of it works really well. The game looks really cool and has a great nostalgic feel. And the theme of building little airlines and airline routes to be able to sell them off when successful to the growing Pan Am company as they spread out is really awesome. And all of this is why Pan Am made it down to my number 3 favorite bidding game.
Number 2.
My number 2 favorite bidding game is probably the game on this list where bidding is the smallest portion of the game, as it is just you do a bid for turn order every turn. Now, the game has a lot more that happens outside of turn order, where you are picking up pieces from a particular area and dropping them off Mancala style, one in each space around the map as you move, trying to free up spaces, empty them out, and have end on certain spaces to be able to build things. This is an amazingly fun game. Lots of people have sung the praises of Five Tribes on their YouTube channels, myself included, because I absolutely love Five Tribes. It is a super good game, but there is a bid that happens every turn. Every turn, coins you have earned from other things in the game, you will bid on turn order. And how important is it to you to go first? Is there a space out there where you're like, I need to grab that space? No one else is allowed to grab that space. I am going to be the top bidder this turn. And even though it's a small part, it is an important part for that reason. And for all those reasons, including how much I just love this game, Five Tribes has made it down to my number 2 favorite bidding game.
And now it is time for number 1.
My number 1 favorite bidding game is interesting because it is the game that I tried most recently of any of the games on this list, and yet it shot all the way up to being my number 1. This is 100% a bidding game. It is all about bidding, but it is amazingly fun, and this is also a game for people who don't like bidding games, because Lynn loves this game as well. This is Nitivalir. Nitivalir is a fantastic game where every round you are bidding on turn order to be able to get draft cards from a particular row. And the cards will be different dwarves that have different classes there, and you have to set collect the dwarves. And every turn you'll place a blind bid face down that the other players don't know what you're bidding, and then you all flip them up simultaneously. Now, there is a reason to pick a bid to throw. You have a 0 coin bid, and if you bid the 0 coin bid, you can upgrade some of your coins so that in the future you'll be able to bid higher. So every round you want to pick one and you're like, well, I really don't want anything here, or I really think they're going to go for it here and I can't outbid them. They've already got the highest coin on the board. I'm going to throw my 0 down there and I'm going to upgrade one of my coins. This game is a lot of fun. It has bidding, it has set collecting, it has the ability to upgrade your coins that you bid with. It has, you know, all sorts of interesting scoring mechanics based on the different classes of dwarfs. Each class of dwarfs bid, they score differently, and it has a bunch of unique dwarves that you can also collect to either give you special abilities or let you score in different ways. And all of that makes Nitivalir an amazing game, which is why it is my #1 favorite bidding game. I hope you enjoyed this list. If you did, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media, and let me know in the comments down below. What bidding games did I miss on my list? What haven't I tried? Which ones are your favorites? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, game on.